Hi, so today we're going to review the Rode VideoMic Pro. So this review is going to consist of a ton of microphone tests. First, we're going to compare on-camera mics to the Mic Pro. I'll be using the Canon T3i and the Panasonic Lumix G7. Now I'm doing two tests from the same camera and same position with 20 decibel boost on and without, so you can hear the difference. Okay, starting off, I'll be putting the microphone on top of the camera, and I'll be standing about 5 feet away from the cameras and microphone. Again, with and without the 20 decibel boost. Then, from 10 feet away. Now coming back in, we're going to test it from about 1.5 feet away. So it's going to be right above the camera's framing, which I think is pretty much the standard position of a camera microphone. And one more from about 5 inches away. Now this is if you put the microphone on top of the camera and wanted to point the microphone backwards to commentate on a video while you're recording. And the closer the mic is, the better it should sound. Now, you might have been wondering why I'm using two cameras. And that's because Canon preamps are pretty bad, or so I hear, literally, pun intended. So we'll see what the difference it has compared to the Lumix. But you might also be wondering what the 20 decibel boost does. Well, Canon cameras are a great example since their preamps are bad. And what this feature does is lets the microphone take more power from the 9-volt battery instead of the camera, which should mean less hissing in the background because the power coming out of the camera is like dirty power and the 9-volt isn't cleaner. Now, when you're turning on 20 decibel boost, you're going to want to go into your camera settings and tune it down -20 decibels. And since most recordings were a little quiet, I bumped them up in post. Alright, so this is Canon's onboard microphone. Pretty sure it sounds pretty bad, and I think I'm out of focus. So, yeah. So this is the Lumix G7 with the onboard stereo microphone. And yeah. Alright. Microphone on the Canon T3i, 20 decibel boost off, manual settings, so we should be getting pretty good levels. And there you go, you can hear my voice hopefully clearly. There might be a background hiss because Canon cameras don't have a very good preamp, but there you go. Alright, so this is the Lumix G7 with the VideoMic Pro on top of it from about 5 feet away, and should sound pretty good. Alright, this is 20 decibel boost on with the Canon camera about 5 feet away, and hopefully that removed some of the background hissing. Alright, this is the VideoMic Pro with the 20 decibel boost on the Lumix G7 from about 5 feet away. I should sound amazing, as always. Alright, here we have 10 feet away, Canon camera, 20 decibel boost off, manual settings on the audio, and there you go. Alright, so microphone's on top of the Lumix G7 and recording on the Lumix G7 from about 10 feet away, and yeah, 20 decibel boost is off. So yeah. Alright, so this is 10 feet away, 20 decibel boost on, and hopefully that removed some of the hissing. 10 feet away with 20 decibel boost on the Lumix G7, and yeah. Alright, the microphone's right out of frame, about 1.5 feet away from me, plugged into the Canon T3i without the 20 decibel boost, and here's the audio results. Alright, microphone's in the optimal position, right above me, out of frame, about 1.5 feet away, and recording on the Lumix G7 without 20 decibel boost, and here's how it sounds. Alright, microphone's about 1.5 feet away from me, 20 decibel boost is on, and plugged into the Canon T3i. And here's the audio results. Alright, this is with 20 decibel boost on, recording with the G7, you know, 1.5 feet away, maybe a little less than 1.5 feet, probably about 1 foot or so. And here's how it sounds. Alright, so the microphone's about like 5 inches away from me, and at this price point, $200, I don't think you would be using it like this at all. This is just for the extreme. And yeah, this is plugged into the Canon T3i, no 20 decibel boost. Alright, so we're back at the extreme, you know, with 5 inches away, and I'm sure it just sounds ridiculous. I mean, this is definitely not the way you're supposed to use a shotgun microphone. And by the way, this is without the 20 decibel boost. Next, I'm going to try the 20 decibel boost, and we'll see how well that goes. Alright, 20 decibel boost is on. I'm sure I'm, peaking in the audio levels and, 5 inches away, plugged into the Canon T3i. I'm sure it sounds fabulous, but this isn't a practical use for a shotgun microphone. So, if you wanted to use it this way, but I don't think I'm going to use it this way, ever, except for this test. Alright, the 20 decibel boost is on, and I'm sure I sound really loud. Like, crazy loud. I mean, I'm also sure there's a lot of background noise. Yeah, that's really loud. If I didn't have the mic limiter, I'd probably sound like... Okay then. Who else was surprised how good the G7's microphone is? I mean, it's better than the Rode plugged into the Canon without the boost. I really wasn't expecting it to be that good. But okay, enough of the G7, because plot twist, this isn't a review of the G7. Or is it? Okay, well, sort of speaking of the Canon T3i's audio, wow, Canon preamps really are bad. I mean, there was almost as much hissing on the T3i's onboard mic. Even the G7's mic was way better than that. I mean, until you turn on 20 decibel boost, then it sounds good again. And as for being 10 feet away, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I mean, the Canon's bad without the 20 decibel boost, but with it on, it does a pretty good job. There's still echoing, but my room's pretty much empty except for my bed and my setup and lights. I mean, they're still echoing, but it's tolerable. As for echoes in all the other clips, not counting the camera's microphone clips, I'm pretty surprised. With the 5 foot away test, there wasn't that much echoing, considering the conditions of my room. And when the mic's right out of frame, wow, there's almost no echoes at all. Amazing. Now, for those of you who are wondering, yes, you can plug it into your computer's microphone jack and record audio that way. But it's really, really quiet. I couldn't see any levels while recording until I turned on 20 decibel boost. And if that wasn't enough, I went into recording settings and turned on plus 30 decibels by right-clicking the volume thing and going into recording devices, then right-click the microphone, went into properties, and at the levels tab, boosted it up plus 30 decibels. And then you can use this as a janky desktop mic. But the fact that it uses a battery makes this feature really unpractical. Alright then, I guess it's conclusion time. It sounds great with any camera because of its 20 decibel boost. And if you pair it with a $30-ish microphone stand and an adapter to mount it to that, I'll have links to everything in the description below, you can get amazing results with little effort. Anyways, if you want more content like this, please subscribe, and bye.